Study and Economic Justice. Right now, I turn it over to Bill Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. There's a handout. I hope all of you have a copy. If not, we will provide you on the first page. Down at the bottom right-hand corner, you will see from this study that was published in 2012 under the auspices of the U.S. Department of Transportation, that was administered by the Georgia Department of Transportation. These numbers show that the white women-owned businesses receive 8.4% of all contract dollars. White males receive 87.6% of all contract dollars. And that means that in all total, white households receive 96% of all contract dollars from the Department of Transportation. That means that
2012.
Yes, that's the 2012 study.
That's it?
And if you look at the chart that's on that same page, you will be able to see the breakdown where it also includes the other ethnic groups. But if you look at, for most of you on the reverse side, one of the comments that I always got from some of your colleagues was there enough black-owned businesses to do more than 2.4%? This chart shows availability. On this chart, it shows that blacks had an availability of 14.1, but received 2.4. And you can look at the rest of the numbers, but as you look at Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, etc., African Americans were the only one that was so substantially disrespected economically. And when you talk about being able to do 14, have the businesses to do 14, but you only got 2.4%. I recommend that you take a closer look at that study. The next page, as a result of a study that was conducted in 1991 that was sponsored in the House by Representative at that time and now in the Senate, we had I see I'm looking for him, David Lucas. Okay, I thought I knew I saw him in it. Then Representative, now Senator David Lucas, and former Congresswoman. These numbers came from the results of that study that Zell Miller used an executive order to direct all state agencies to identify their minority participation and women participation. If you look at those numbers, they are dreadful to say the least. One of the things that sticks out very clearly is that our own business, our own college campuses were woefully low in minority and African American participation. The following is the current study that came out a few months ago. You will see some of the same comments. This is only a brief part. This gives you just the first part of the study that will give you the objectives. It will show you what the findings were, what the recommendations were, and what the conclusions were. I'll leave that to your own reading, and you will see, and I'm my surety that you will see that it substantiates what happened before. And what we don't have are the studies that took place every 3 years before this, required by the U.S. Department of Transportation. So there's a very clear history, there's a clear documentation, there's clear evidence as what the economic discrimination is. And so on that, giving honor to the time, last year we talked about this. We did not have a chance to present, but we did want to recommend, and when I say we, the coalition of organizations that include the state NAACP, the Black Engineers Association, the Black Contractors Association, the state SCLC, and several other well-known civil rights organizations and others, including Green Light Organization, that we have come together to say and ask you for support. All of us need to up our game because the numbers are not changing. And so we've got to change our game in what we're doing in order to make a difference for the people that we all serve. And so based on that, I'll close with this, that Representative Roger Bruce has a Bill 21 that would create a minority business participation program. Chairman Jackson has a similar bill in the Senate that would create a minority business participation program. Senator Jackson also has a resolution in the Senate that would create a Senate study committee, which was similar to the one that then Representative Cynthia McKinney and then Representative David Lucas created in the House that I mentioned, that resulted in Zell Miller's executive order. And then there's also the expansion of the Georgia Procurement Registry. This is the state's online listing of all state contracts. To expand that to include all cities, all counties, and all public school systems. Can you imagine the volume of opportunities that all those would be able to afford all of our citizens and all of our people, all of your constituents, when it comes to contract opportunities where they would, at no cost, be able to see all of the state bids, all the city bids, all the county bids, and all the school board bids. With that, I close with asking and recommending sincerely that this body consider creating a standing committee on economic justice for this body. And then lastly, of course, that there be a citizen advisory council to support the efforts of this legislative black caucus. I thank you very much for your time and your consideration. I'll answer any questions.
Okay. Mr. Bill?
Yes.
Also, Senator Tate has a bill also that deals with economic justice. Okay?
And I'll get that.
And Jones.
Yeah, Representative Sheila Jones is doing a companion bill
Yeah,
in the House.
right. Yeah, right. Sheila Jones doing a companion bill. Tate's doing a very similar bill also.
Okay.
Okay, so there's more than one person fighting on this issue. We're going to address the citizens.